Hello, this is Willie going through the workbook for students of A Course in Miracles. We're ready for lesson 44, and it is February the 13th. God is the light in which I see. Yesterday, God is my source. I cannot see apart from Him. We're going to add another dimension, it says, to that lesson and to what we're working on in this lesson. God is the light in which I see. Might point out this is a really key lesson. Says that the most important thing about this lesson is we have to really recognize how important it is that we want to see. So, God is the light in which I see. Before we go on, I just want to show you something. I've been trying to show you some green things here in the middle of winter. And I'm just out in my garden. It's 11 degrees outside and snowing. And I thought I was picking up a piece of firewood, a stick. And it was an old kale stalk that had a little green on top. You know, kale withstands a lot of cold too. But out came a couple strawberry plants. I got one here in my pocket. And if you'll note, and I got another in here, it was a couple crowns, and I went ahead and brought them in so I could show you. The crown is this little part right here at the base of the leaf stem that you plant. And of course, here's a runner on this one that it had come over here. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is that these things are really hardy. I mean, look how green they are, and it's 11 degrees outside. Anyway, they're early, you know, you plant strawberries early in the spring, and get them early enough, you'll get a crop that year, and you'll definitely get them the next year. So anyway, strawberries. These are ever-bearing, Ozark, what do they call them? Anyway, Ozark berries. They are an ever-bearing. There's a name for them, Ozark something. Ozark ever-bearing maybe? Anyway, let's go to our lesson. God is the light in which I see. Oh, and yesterday, if you notice, it cut off abruptly. Well, my device ran out of space. I hope I freed up enough, and I'll work on that in the next day or so and try to free up more so it doesn't happen again. But it was at the end. We just lost a word or two. So I think I was saying, God is my source I cannot see. And then it cut me off. It's apart from Him. And I would have said, we'll see you tomorrow. So here we are tomorrow. Okay, let's read our lesson. Lesson 44, God is the light in which I see. Today we're continuing with the idea for yesterday, adding another dimension to it. You cannot see in darkness, and you cannot make light. You can make darkness and then think you see in it. But light reflects life and is therefore an aspect of creation. Creation and darkness cannot coexist, but light and life must go together, being but different aspects of creation. 2. In order to see, you must recognize that light is within, not without. Key idea there. In order to see, you must recognize that light is within, not without. You know, we kind of think that light's outside of us and that it's going to come into our eyes and then we'll be able to see things that it's reflected off on. But he's saying, no, that's not light. In order to see, you must recognize that light is within, not without. You do not see outside yourself, nor is the equipment for seeing outside you. An essential part of this equipment is the light that makes seeing possible. It is with you always, making vision possible in every circumstance. Vision. Vision is our greatest need now. You may have heard me say that. It's quoted in the Course. So we're learning to see true vision. Paragraph 3. Today we're going to attempt to reach that light. For this purpose, we will use a form of practice which has been suggested before and which we will utilize increasingly. It is a particularly difficult form for the undisciplined mind and represents a major goal of mind training. It embodies precisely what the untrained mind lacks. Yet the training must be accomplished if you are to see. Okay, we've got to do our mind training if we're going to see. It says it's essential. 4, have at least 3 periods today, each lasting 3 to 5 minutes. A longer time is highly recommended, but only if you find the time merely slipping by with little or no sense of strain. The form of exercise we will use today is the most natural and easy one in the world for the trained mind, just as it seems to be the most unnatural and difficult for the untrained mind. How hard it is just to sit still and quiet for the untrained mind. And yet it's the most natural thing in all the world for the trained mind to be still and quiet. Well, this is where we're headed, plus some. Paragraph 5. Your mind is no longer wholly untrained. If you've been doing the lessons, that's why it's so important to do what it says. He's going to build on this, but if you've been doing them, then it's not wholly untrained. And tell you what, even if you haven't been doing them, and all you've been doing is listening to the lesson or reading it, you're still getting a little bit of training. Okay, but let me encourage you to do what he says to do and make this an incremental training where you'll be ready for each step because you've done what was required. Your mind is, I might add in that, I did these lessons for years and I didn't really do them exactly what they said. And even to this day, I can't say that I always do them exact, but I try. And each year it gets a little better for me because I really do try. And that's all that's asked, is that you try. But try to do what the lessons call for that day. And you'll find that it's going to be fairly easy that way. Your mind is no longer wholly untrained. You're quite ready to learn the form of exercise we will use today. But you may find that you will encounter strong resistance. The reason is very simple. While you practice in this form, you leave behind everything that you now believe and all the thoughts which you have made up. Properly speaking, this is the release from hell. Perceived through the ego's eyes, it is a loss of identity and a descent into hell. Okay, remember, we're still looking at things partially through the ego's eyes and partially through Spirit's eyes. So, as we vacillate back and forth in that twilight world, we may feel strong resistance. Well, that's the ego, because it says, no, you're going into hell. You don't know what you're doing. So we don't want to do that. We want to be more at peace and just do what he says to do. And if you have that strong resistance, ask God for help. Okay, paragraph 6. If you can stand aside from the ego by ever so little, you will have no difficulty in recognizing that its opposition and fears are meaningless. You might find it helpful to remind yourself from time to time that to reach light is to escape from darkness, whatever you may believe to the contrary. God is the light in which you see. You're attempting to reach him. Okay? You might find it helpful to remind yourself from time to time that to reach light is to escape from darkness. Whatever you may believe to the contrary, God is the light in which you see. You're attempting to reach him. Wow, we're trying to reach God. What a beautiful thought, huh? Paragraph 7. Begin the practice period by repeating today's idea with your eyes open and close them slowly, repeating the idea several times more. God is the light in which I see. Then try to sink into your mind, letting go every kind of interference and intrusion by quietly sinking past them. Your mind cannot be stopped in this unless you choose to stop it. It's merely taking its natural course. Try to observe your passing thoughts without involvement and slip quietly by them. Let's read that one again. Let's make sure you got this. This is important. Begin the practice period by repeating today's idea with your eyes open and close them slowly, repeating the idea several times more. God is the light in which I see. God is the light in which I see. Then try to sink into your mind. Try to sink into your mind, letting go every kind of interference and intrusion by quietly sinking past them. Your mind cannot be stopped in this unless you choose to stop it. It is merely taking its natural course. Try to observe your passing thoughts without involvement and slip quietly past them. Wow, quietly by them. Slip quietly by all those thoughts in the mind, okay? Paragraph 8. While no particular form of approach is advocated, what is needful is a sense of importance of what you're doing, its inestimable value to you, and an awareness that you are attempting something very holy. Whoa! While no particular form of approach is advocated. Okay? He's letting us free will this. He says, no particular way, just slip past your thoughts, do what's natural. But here's what he says, while no particular form of approach is advocated, what is needful is a sense of the importance of what you're doing, its inestimable value to you, and an awareness that you're attempting something very holy. Salvation is your happiest accomplishment. Salvation is your happiest accomplishment. It is also the only one that has any meaning because it is the only one that has any use to you at all. Wow. Any meaning, only use to you at all. Paragraph 9. If resistance rises in any form, pause long enough to repeat today's idea, keeping your eyes closed unless you are aware of fear. In that case, you will probably find it more reassuring to open your eyes briefly. Try, however, to return to the exercises as soon as possible. Paragraph 10. If you're doing the exercises correctly, you should experience some sense of relaxation and even a feeling that you're approaching, if not actually entering into light. Try to think of light. Think of light, formless and without limit as you pass by the thoughts of this world. And do not forget that they cannot hold you to the world unless you give them the power to do so. And the last paragraph, remember, as we're slipping past all of our thoughts on the surface, he says, think of light and let this formless light that's without limit, let it draw you to itself. Let God draw you to himself. And the last paragraph, throughout the day, repeat the idea often with eyes open or closed as seems better to you at the time. Do not forget, above all, be determined not to forget today. All right, so let's be determined. Remember, this is very, very important what we're doing. We're going to reach God. We're going to say, God is the light in which I see. And we're going to consider how important this is. It's our happiest accomplishment, whether we recognize it or not. All right, until tomorrow, keep this thought in your mind. God is the light in which I see. And be persevering. Be persevering like the strawberries in the wintertime. All right? See you guys. Bye.